What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, previews and vlogs. All right, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like this video, and if you haven't been here before and if it's your first time, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button, helps me out a lot, and don't forget to share this video. All right, so today finally I get to tune the CTS-V Sport. I've had the Trifecta tune sitting in my computer or in my file from Trifecta since Black Friday of 2019, of course, because I bought it at the Black Friday special, and it's been sitting there. The reason it's been sitting there is because, of course, I've been waiting to do the recall on the car and a couple other things that I'm going to talk about today that I've been waiting to do on this before I do the tune. So first things first, we're going to take a look at what I've done to the car up to this point and what I've shared with you guys, what I've been doing to the CTS-V Sport. All right, for one, of course, you guys know it's the 2015 Cadillac CTS-V Sport 3.6 twin turbo engine, 420 horsepower, 300 or 430 foot-pounds-feet of torque. What I've done to it, of course, recently I put new wheels on it, 19-inch wheels. I've done, of course, the body kit in it from Savage Cadillac, so it's got the front splitter, the side splitters. When the car was hitting the back bumper, and this was back in around September, October of last year, I went ahead and upgraded the bumper to the CTS-V bumper, and I put a MagnaFlow exhaust on the car. As well as, of course, just recently, you guys saw my last video, I did the Q upgrade with the Pro Clip mount on there. So you guys like that video, it's gotten a lot of views so far. It's been out for a week, and I appreciate all the likes and the feedback on that. Go ahead and watch that video if you have not watched it. That is pretty much what I've done. Other than that, of course, I've ceramic coated the car, and I've wrapped everything that is chrome or silver black. So it's been pretty much chrome deleted, you can call it, and that's what everybody calls it, I should say. Now, no spoiler has been put on the car, which it's coming, and as well a couple other things that I'm going to be doing after this. But this is going to be the biggest mod on the car yet. Oh, also, I did forget to talk about, I did, of course, the ZZP intake that I've done to this car. So that's another mod, which is not a performance mod, as it's say, because it doesn't really do much of anything giving it horsepower. More of a good mod to look at, and of course you get the nice sound from the turbos, that spool sound when you're accelerating on the car. So today, by doing the tune, is going to be the biggest mod to this car yet. It's going to be actually what makes the biggest difference performance-wise to the car. Now, of course, most of you guys that have had CTSs or GMs and no Trifecta, they do a pretty good tune, and they have them for a lot of GMs. I will put the link in the description below. You guys can check them out if you have not. Now, I did have a 2.0 turbo Cadillac CTS. It was a 2014, and I have some videos on that car, and I'll put some links as well. You guys can check that out. And I had a Trifecta tune on that car. On that car, real quick, I'm gonna go through what I had done to it. It had a ZZP drop-in intake with the silicone tubing, bigger throttle, downpipe from ZZP, and a Trifecta tune. Now that car's factory horsepower is about 275 foot-pounds of torque, and or 275 horsepower. Torque, I'm not sure what it was. I think it was up there in the 250, 260 range. I'm not 100% sure what the 2.0 was. With the tune, it gave it another 22 horsepower and about 40 foot-pounds-feet of torque. And of course, with the other little things, the drop-in K&N filter and the downpipe, it did change it. Probably running about 305, 310 horsepower on that car, if that. You did feel a big difference once you tuned that car though. Now, the reason that I've been waiting so long to tune the V Sport is because I've been waiting, of course, to get that rear differential recall done, which is done. I have all the fluids have been changed other than the coolant, which I'm gonna do at 60,000. The car currently has 53,000 miles on it and some change, but I'm gonna be doing the coolant at 60. Brakes are still decent, so I'm not gonna do the brakes. I do get a slight pulsation or vibration when slowing down from high speeds. Now that could be the control arms, which I'm gonna have them check a Cadillac today because it's going in the Cadillac before the tune. And the brakes, it may be the rotors. I will be replacing those as well in another video. But rear differential's done, which means rear differential fluid is new. Coolant's the same, and it's got a fresh oil change. Now, spark plugs I did back when the car had about 49,000 miles or so. So it's been about 3,000 to 4,000 miles since I've done the spark plugs. The reason I did the spark plugs was because when I first got the car, the very first day I got this car, actually, it's kind of funny. I drove the car home from the dealer. The next day I was driving on the highway. I get off the highway and the car dies on me. Just completely dies. Start up the car again and it dies again. Take it straight to the dealer. It was the second day I've owned the car. I get to the dealer, I drop off the car, they gave me a loaner. They had it for about 3 weeks. It was actually the X pipe. According to them, there was a big hole in the X pipe causing backfeed to the turbos, causing them to die out. So, okay, fine. It hasn't died out, it hasn't happened ever since, but I still get this rough idle when you're at a stoplight. So when you're at a stoplight or a stoplight, and most of you guys probably have this issue with the V Sports, you get this slight vibration. It feels like it's kind of missing, like a misfire. No check engine lights, no codes for a misfire, nothing like that. Just it feels like it's missing a little bit, like just you feel something that it's not right. So you know what? The spark plugs are supposed to be done in this car at about 50,000 miles anyways. I went ahead and did them anyways. It changed it slightly. It got a little bit better, but you still feel it. Now, by asking questions, of course, in the CTS community or the Cadillac community, a lot of people said replace the coils. And that's what I have sitting right over here, is all 6 coils, which I'm gonna be doing today before I go to Cadillac in the next hour and a half that I have the appointment to get the transmission fluid done. Which, the reason I'm doing all this, for one, I want that, see if that actually fixes that idle before I tune the car. 2, transmission fluid is being done because I want new trans fluid in this car. If you're boosting the power on any car, unless it's brand new, if you bought the car used and you have 50,000 miles, 40,000, 30,000 miles, it's always good to get all new fluids, get some spark plugs in there before you actually start tuning a car and changing, giving it more power. You want everything to make sure you're pretty much running almost at 100% before you do any of that, which is a good tip for any car, other than, of course, you buy a brand new car and you want to tune it right away, then everything should be brand new. All right, so before I start ripping this car apart and replacing the coils on it, which is actually pretty easy to do, and I'm gonna kind of show you guys how to do it, and you guys can follow this video if you like. But I have all the coils right here, of course. AC Delco, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I got 14 quarts of transmission fluid there. Why 14 quarts? Well, that's what this car takes if you're doing a transmission fluid flush. Yes, I am doing a flush. It only has 53,000 miles on it, so if it has 100,000 miles, I don't suggest doing a flush. Anything above, I say 70 or 80,000 miles. Do a drain and fill. Drain and fill, you probably need half of this, if that. Since I'm doing a full flush, taking all the trans fluid out, putting all new trans fluid in, 14 quarts is what it is. Now, the dealer quoted me about $850 to do this because they're selling the fluid, which is what's recommended in the owner's manual for this car, at $26 a quart. Of course, I went to GM discount parts and got these. They were on special, on sale, of course. There was a sale they were having about 50% off. They were for $9.95 a quart, and I picked all these up. Cost me about $109, and whatever the dealer's gonna charge me, I think it's an hour and a half labor or so to get the transmission fluid done. So I'm gonna save a heck of a money. Now, I've called a few dealers. Price quotes being for transmission service have been between $860, $620, $700. They've been in that range. But again, this is gonna cost me, again, $124 with shipping for the fluid. Plus, let's just say they charge me $200 for labor, and the filter, you're talking about $324 compared to almost $800 or $700. So it's a savings. Now, what I do want to talk about is the Trifecta tune that I'm going to be putting on the car. All right, so this is going to be the first car with over 500 horsepower I'm going to have. Now, I'm going to break the numbers down to you. Now, these are going to be numbers, and this is just to show you guys kind of where you're at with horsepower and everything on this car after you tune this thing. Now, again, these numbers that I'm going to be putting up here are average numbers. They're not, there's no actual full evidence. I didn't dyno the car. I'm not gonna take it to get it dynoed anytime soon, at least, because dynos give you different readings depending on where you go. Some dynos are calibrated differently. One dyno could tell you your car has at the wheels 380 horsepower. Another one will tell you it has 410 horsepower. I mean, there's a difference, and you get different readings at different dynos. So we're gonna go off of your average numbers that you normally see here and what the actual numbers would be off this car, and we're gonna use GM's original numbers of horsepower and torque that they give you. So let me sit you guys down here because my arm is getting tired of holding the camera. All right, so the car originally has about 420 from the factory, 420 horsepower, 430 foot-pound-feet of torque. Now that is at the crank, not at the rear wheels. So normal loss of power between the crank and the rear wheels, and that is saying with the perfect air temperature outside and perfect, pretty much, you know, radio off, AC off, nothing else running, is about 10% loss. Now if you turn on the AC on, you have some weight in the car, you know, family in the car and stuff, of course you're gonna lose more power. Usually loss of power in those situations between 10 and 18% of loss of actual power. So I'm gonna go with the regular 10%. You by yourself in the car, perfect weather, AC is off, you got everything off, and you're just at a track and you're gonna fly this thing, and we're gonna see what we kind of come out with numbers here. Now again, numbers may be different if you guys do a different type of math here, but we're just gonna talk about what this Trifecta tune is gonna give this car and what you actually could tell people when you tune it with this. Again, that intake does nothing for the car. Putting a downpipe does nothing for the car. GM has locked that ECM to basically only give you a certain amount of power, and that's it. This Trifecta tune is the only thing that gives you any power. And from what I know, Trifecta is the only company that can actually get access to this ASIN transmission that this car has. And a lot of companies out there have said that I've done my research in trying to get tunes for this car before I bought the Trifecta tune. And a lot of companies have said, oh yeah, we could tune this car. I've gone to places that tune cars in dynos and said, yeah, we can get into it. We'll figure it out. I'm not willing to risk the trans or the engine in this car. And I'm gonna go with a company that's been proven, to me at least, that they can handle dealing with these cars and have had good reviews on the cars as well, on their tunes. Anyways, so here are the numbers. From the factory, this engine produces 420 horsepower, 430 foot-pounds of torque at the crank. Now to the rear wheels, you're gonna, let's say, lose about 10% horsepower and 10% of the crank. So that's 42 horsepower you're losing and 43 foot-pounds of torque. So that puts you down to 378 horsepower and 387 foot-pound-feet of torque at the rear wheels. Now, if you add Trifecta, claims to say they're gonna give you 74 horsepower wheel horsepower, which means at the rear wheels, you're gonna get 74 more horsepower and 81 foot-pounds of torque. Now, it doesn't say at the wheels or at the crank, it says 80, but we're gonna say we're gonna assume it says at the wheels. You're gonna be putting down 452 horsepower and 468 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels. Now, we're just gonna do a little reverse math here. If I add 10% to the 74 horsepower and the 81 foot-pounds of torque that is at the wheels back on, because we're gonna see we're gonna get at the crank, you're adding pretty much 7.4 and 8.1%. 7.4 horsepower and 8.1% more foot-pounds of torque. You're gonna come out with pretty much 81 foot-pounds of torque additional at the engine or at the crank, and 89 foot-pounds of torque at the crank as well. So what you normally end up with at the end of the whole thing is it'll be 501 horsepower and 519 foot-pounds of torque at the crank or in the engine. And again, that is the perfect scenario, only losing 10%. Now, if you have other things on, your AC's on, passengers on there, you're looking at losing 15%. You're losing the gas you're using. You know, a lot of things go into basically what horsepower you're losing at the actual wheel. But at the engine, 501 horsepower and 519 foot-pound-feet of torque is not bad. You got a 500 horsepower car at this point with just that tune. And again, you don't have to put the intake or the exhaust or the downpipes. It really won't do much of a difference on this car other than make it sound good. The intake alone with the factory tune on there sounds good. So the actual thing here is the actual Trifecta tune will give you that much more horsepower. You'll be putting over 500 horsepower on this car, which is awesome. That's close to supercar status right there at that point. All right, so that's enough talking. We pretty much ran the numbers. I explained a little bit about the Trifecta tune and everything else. And let's just go ahead and get this thing going and get these spark plugs done, or these coils done on this car. See, and I'll let you guys know if there's a big difference after I install this. And we gotta go to Cadillac and get the transmission fluid done, and then we'll come back home and put this tune in. All right, so we're gonna start by removing this 10mm screw right here. Now this is, of course, we gotta get the top cover off the engine. This plastic cover is this twin turbo. So 10mm screw. Take that out of there. Of course, nothing else comes out. Make sure that's nice and tight in there. And then we're gonna go over here and remove the oil cap. Once you take the oil cap off of there, it's pretty easy for it to come off. You pull up and forward, and the cover comes right off. Just make sure you put the cover somewhere where you're not gonna damage it or step on it or something crazy like that. All right, first thing is you want to put the oil cap back on. You don't want to drop anything inside of the engine, so we'll go ahead and put that on, make sure it's secure. And we're gonna start off pretty much on the driver's side, but this side here is a lot easier. You got all this stuff here. This comes off pretty easy. We're gonna do the hardest part, at least for me it's the hardest part, which is the driver's side. Now on this side right over here, you have, here's your one of the coils here, the other coils right below this here, and then of course the last coil by the firewall. You gotta remove both 10mm screws to get this air intake out of there, or air duct out of here. So once you get the 10mm screws out, this just pulls right back. There's nothing else holding it down, so you can go ahead and pull right back on it. And I'm gonna show you guys what I did to secure this, because this does get in the way if you're trying to take out the coils. All right, before we secure that, you wanna push on this little, you wanna disconnect this line. Push on the silver tab and pull back on it. That gives you more room as well. That's a vacuum line that goes right on top of the actual coil. So you wanna pull on that just to basically give you a little bit more wiggle space in there. All right, so here's what I did. I took that air inlet tube that goes into the intercooler here and pretty much grabbed a bungee cord and secured it up against the hood hinge right over here. That just kind of keeps it out of the way while you're trying to work on it. So you have enough room, like I'll show you here, to get down to the, first of all, the screws that are in there and the coil packs, because they are a tight fit in there. All right, to remove the connector, you want to use a pick or a screwdriver, flathead, and pull this locking clip back out. And then of course, just like any connector, push down on the tab and then pull right out. Be careful you don't damage the tab or any other wiring when you're pulling these out, because then you'll have some misfires or not connecting properly. Alright guys, so lately my camera work sucks, and I want to apologize for that. And sometimes I'm too far into the job and I'm not thinking that the camera's not on. So I got them all out. Real quick, when you're getting these out, you're gonna kind of want to maneuver these lines around. This one you got to pull slightly further back a little bit more. You're okay as long as you're not yanking on it or anything. Also be careful with that gasket. Now, I do have those gaskets somewhere in here, of course, right here. I bought them last time when I did the actual plugs. A lot of people say you gotta replace them. They look good to me. They don't seem like there's anything wrong with them. So there's no point in replacing them, but they're like $5 a piece. I would just get them in case you hit a gasket and nick it as you're pulling everything out. But anyways, like I said, my camera work sucks. I did get them out. You gotta kind of wiggle them out a little bit, because when you're pulling them up, they kind of hit this edge right here of the plenum. The back one actually is the easiest one, because there's a lot more room back here and you kind of wiggle it out and pull it through here. But again, I will make sure the camera is on when I do the other side so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. But another thing you want to check is when you pull these out, to make sure there's no oil in them here. If there's any oil, that means you have a valve cover leak or a valve cover gasket leak. That needs to be taken care of course, before anything's done. These are nice and clean, no oil in them. And then we're gonna compare them to the new ones. All right, so one thing you guys wanna make sure, of course, look at the whole thing. Make sure it's all good. It does say Denso on it, so it is a Denso part, even though it's an AC Delco box, but that's what they use pretty much on there. Part numbers and everything are right in here. And just make sure you look at it when you pull out the new one to make sure that it looks exactly the same. Always want to verify before putting anything else in like that. All right. Of course, they come with brand new screws as well. But there it is, the old one. And they both say, of course, Denso. Their part numbers match 100%. Here's 1263 2479 on both part numbers. It's the exact same one. So we'll go ahead and put these back on now. And I'll make sure I have the camera when I'm putting it back on to show you guys how it goes back on. Putting them back in is the reverse of taking them out. Just make sure, just take your time and don't damage anything. All right, so we got the new ones back in there, connected and everything. Make sure you plug them back in. Last time when I did the plugs and I put number 6 back on, which is the one over there by the firewall, I didn't plug it back in, turn the car on, check engine lights going off, car's running worse than before. I got service traction control, service stability track, service rear differential because of a misfire. That's what all the codes that it threw. I'm like, what the hell happened? All I did was do coils. Did I break something? Did I do something? Did I hit a line? Did I break I don't know, wiring something? So just always be careful when you're doing plugs, especially with the connectors. But when you're done with them, make sure you, before you put everything back together, make sure everything's plugged in properly, press them all in, make sure they're all the way in, and you hear them click. Normally when you pop them in, you'll hear them click on, and then make sure you put on that locking tab back on there to lock them in place. And then what I did at the end was I took the ratchet or the wrench and turn them just slightly. Don't over tighten them. Do not break the screws in there. You're gonna be in a world problem because basically you won't be able to, it won't be held on properly and you may get misfires and other issues with it. So now pretty much from here, everything is put back to normal. We're gonna connect the back line back here, which is probably just a vacuum line. And then we're gonna put this back on there with the 2 screws. Again, before you put it on, double check that gasket, make sure it's okay. If you wanna replace it, replace it. Mine looks good. So I'm gonna just put everything back together and then we'll do the passenger side. Right, so for this side here, there's a little bit more things you gotta remove. Again, we gotta remove the 2 10mm nuts or bolts that are in here. And you gotta disconnect all these lines to get everything, all this out of the way. But once you get that out of the way, same thing like that said, we'll bungee this to the hood here or something, and we'll get it out of the way. And this, once you move this out of the way and this out of the way, you actually got more access to these coils than you did on the other side. That's why I did the driver's side first, because it was going to be a lot harder moving all that out of the way and getting those coils out. So to do these here, it's quite simple actually. These tabs here, just push down on them and they come undone. So here, down, out. There's one in here as well that's up against the crank here. Push find it and pull it out, push down. And these are all tabs that you just push these parts and push and pull them out. Same thing with this one, push in. And out. And you'll be able to move it out. Now if you want to disconnect this one, be my guest, it kind of doesn't really do much of anything. If you can, if you want, but you don't really need to. You just kind of move this out. If you want to grab a bungee, hook it onto this and then hook it on something else just to keep you out of the way because they keep kind of bouncing back there. Now back here, there is this line. There's this line that goes all the way to back here. Now back here, there is a small little plastic tab. You can get your finger halfway to pushing it, and it's a tab you just kind of pull back on. What I do is, actually, let me see if I get you guys some light in here. It's gonna be that tab. You can see it right here. With that one, I use a pick to get to this one. Pull back on it, and you gotta kind of pull the line. Now I'm holding the camera with one hand, so it's gonna be a pain to do this, but you gotta pull back on this tab with the one hand, with the pick, and then pull up on the line. So I'm gonna do it off camera because I'm holding the camera with one hand here, so. And you get that out of the way. That's pretty much how that one comes out. All right, so now 2 10mm, get this out of the way, pull this back. All right, so now we're gonna get 2 10mm bolts, get this thing out of the way, pull this back to get access to those coils. What I did here, I hooked this line, of course, that hooks up to this. And I did take that line that we took, the last line that we took out from all the way back there, that hooks into here, I completely took it out. It's got the same type of tab connected to this here, so I unhooked that out just to get it out of the way and put it up there. Now, like I said, you have a little more room to get this coil out of here, get this one out of here, but the center one's gonna be a pain. You have to be careful with it because this is as much room you get because you have, of course, that piping hitting that hose right there, and it won't let you get any further back than that. Now you could try to bend this back as much as you can, but again, I think that should be enough room to kind of wiggle that coil out of there. So let's go ahead and get these out of here. All right, so same procedure, make sure they have no oil in them or on them, which means a good thing, because if they do, again, like I said earlier, that means your valve covers are leaking and you're gonna have to get those replaced before you even finish this job. All right, so now let's put on the last 3, get this job done, and take this thing to Cadillac to get these 14 quarts of transmission fluid put on, which it's actually, my appointment's at 10, 9:56, so I'm gonna speed through this process here real quick. Again, being careful not to break anything, so let's go ahead and get these things done. Alright, so all 6 coils installed. Again, make sure they're all plugged in. Double check everything. Before we put the cover back on, again, double check, make sure they are all the way in. There's not loose or anything like that. Let's go ahead and start up the car. Everything seems decent. No weird misfire, no weird shaking. Actually, it does feel better now. I gotta wait till the RPMs calm down a little bit. Car is cold. Yeah, that tire light, that is a different story with these wheels. I will tell you guys that on the way to the dealership right now. Feels smoother. RPMs came down. Usually by now I feel a stumble, misfire, slight thing, whatever the hell that is, but it feels smoother. It does feel smoother. Well, it'll be the test on the way to the dealership, so we'll see how that how it performs there. All right, we got to get going. It's 10 o'clock. I should have been there by now, and the advisor's pretty cool with me, so I'm gonna go ahead, change from these sweatpants and what am I, almost 70-degree weather here, and then I'm sweating, and then we'll head out to the dealership. So give me a few minutes and we'll be right back. Before we go back and get ready, let's put the color on. Let's not forget about that. Make sure nothing's left in here, no tools, no screws. Good to go. All right, let me go get ready. All right, we are ready. Gotta put 14 quarts of this into the trunk of the car. So let's go ahead and, all right. Walking around the lot here, just waiting for my car to get done. And I posted this car on my Instagram before, and I apologize because I'm right in the middle of a street here. But I posted this car in my Instagram before. Let me know what you guys think. I got some feedback on the Instagram, but let me know what you guys think about this car. Now, of course, it's a CT or ATS-V, but at Naperville Cadillac, they actually had a company come out here and make it a convertible. Now, this is not factory, and it's been sitting here. It says manager special. This is, I believe it's a 2017. So it's been sitting here for 3 years, unsold. Didn't even look at the brakes. Tell they don't drive this car at all. How rusty those things are. And again, this car, well, has been sitting here for a period of about 3 years already. Remember the last time they were trying to have me buy it, and they were selling it for $70,000 when they first had it on the lot. They had it. I remember when I saw it when they first had it in the showroom. Actually, they had it for about $103,000. Nobody's bought the car. It does have the carbon fiber package. But again, car's just still sitting here. Got bird poop on it. Just sitting here. 3 years. Brand new car. 2017 ATS-V convertible. My only thing would be is when this thing goes bad, from what I've heard, the company, it is, the company that did this is no longer, it's already ripped right there too, is no longer in business. So I don't know how they would fix it or what warranty would cover that. That's gotta be the biggest concerns. Carbon fiber diffuser, nice car, but I bet you the reason it hasn't sold is because that is not factory, and there'll be so many issues with that sunroof. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, not much more to look at here. There was a V parked over there earlier, but just want to see what your feedback would be on this car. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna keep waiting for my car, and actually I'll see you guys back at home once my car is done. Oh, that's already cracked. Look at that. Chipped and cracked. That's no good. That's gotta be expensive. It's over there too. Anyways, like I said, once my car is done, I'll see you back at home. We'll do some comparisons. We'll drive the Caddy or the V Sport with the factory tune, and then we'll do comparisons with the Trifecta tune afterwards. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Just wanted to get some feedback on this. Let me know what you guys think about it. Leave comments down below. So back home finally from the dealer. Transmission fluid service done. Coils are done. Now, one thing I will show you guys is all 14 quarts are still there of this transmission fluid, which is again the same fluid that is stated in the owner's manual by Cadillac or GM. When I got there, of course, they looked at the fluid. I guess the technician said they've updated the fluid, which actually, to be honest with you, there was a guy on the Facebook page that said that the fluid is different now. They upgraded it for whatever reason. I think it was for something about it would shift smoother with the other fluid they were putting in. So pretty much, so you guys know, this is the fluid they put on there. That's the part number 192-56039. Now, of course, it needs 12 quarts at $27.21 a quart. Now, normally the dealer was trying to charge me $47 a quart. So I went again right onto gmpartsdirect.com, and they had it in there for 21 and some change. The reason I pay is 27 because I have to pay shipping and handling, of course, for the other fluid to get over. So when I did the math, it pretty much, I ended up paying the dealer $1 more per quart. So 12 bucks more on a total of 12 quarts for the total amount of fluid that I got. They had the fluid there, the car was there, might as well just get it done while I'm there. So the total bill, a total of, just for fluid, $547.99. 180 of that was labor. So I believe they charged me like, I think it's an hour and a half labor, whatever. I was only expecting to pay the 180 plus I already got the other fluid, and I was gonna save a bunch of money. But either way, I still saved some money from what they were trying to charge me for the actual fluid. All right, so now that we're back home, like I said, I'm gonna tune the car today. All right, so here's a step-by-step pretty much on how to actually get the tune and how to install it. So, of course, you're gonna wanna go to Trifecta Performance. You want to find the performance one because there's another website for Trifecta, trifectaperformance.com. Once that loads up, make sure you create a profile. I already have a profile created right here. That's my name up here, Cadillac 1979. Once you do that, you can go right in here. Now, here's all the vehicles that are supported right in here. So if you click on here, you can see all the cars that are supported on there. So there's Buick, Cadillac, Chevrolet, GMC, Pontiac, Saturn, and Opel. Yes, Opel is supported. Down here, we're gonna click Cadillac because that's the car we're tuning. CTS. And of course, twin turbo 3.6. Of course, there's your other options in there if you wanna go any other Cadillac. You wanna go ahead and click on the picture of the car. And then in here, you can read up on pretty much everything it says. You can read on the whole tune and what it gives you and what kind of feedback they have from the tune. And of course, you're gonna start entering your VIN number, transmission type, what default mode you want this to start up. So this is basically be when you turn the car off and start it on, what do you want the car to start? You wanna start in tour mode, in performance mode, and track mode. I chose tour mode because that's usually what I drive the car in. So that's the factory setting. And then of course, the memory mode. So when you shut everything off, where do you want it again to restart and where do you want the tune to stay at pretty much most of the time? So you can pick any one of these in here. See if you have a factory intake. If not, you can click on which intake you have. K&N drop-in or ZZP intake. Just make sure you select the right one. If you have any specific exhaust. Now, when I did this, I did not have the MagnaFlow exhaust, so I didn't put any brand on there. And then of course, how did you hear about us? Any comments? Then you're gonna add it to cart and buy it. Once you purchase the tune, you're gonna go into your profile and click on downloads. Now in here is pretty much, this is a user guide. So if you wanna actually, follow this, this will show you exactly how to use the whole thing and how to download it. It's like a little video they show you. You wanna download the Easy Flash, the latest version of the Easy Flash downloader, which is basically what reads the car's computer and how it's going to communicate with the car. So you wanna make sure you got that. So I already got it in there. And then below that are your tunes. Here's a tune for the V Sport. This is for the old one. This is for the 2.0 that I used to have. All right, and it tells you how many times you've downloaded it. On this one, I downloaded it 10 times because I did have to take the tune off a few times and put it back on. So for some reason, my computer will not store the tune, for some reason, the file in the computer. I'm not sure why. I'm not a big Windows user. I usually use Apple products. So I literally have this computer just for that. And again, you do need a Windows computer or a computer running Windows, the latest version. All right, so once we get here, you're gonna wanna download, of course. So we'll go ahead and download it again. All right, so we'll click on the picture here and it'll take you to this screen, and then you can hit download file right there. And then it will start downloading the file. It's gonna give you through all these terms and services, of course, blah, 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 saying pretty much they're not responsible if you blow up your car. All right, so now it's downloading the file. So once it downloads, you wait for it. It takes a few seconds to download or so, and it's right down here. At least on my computer it is. Go ahead and open the file up. And you want to accept this. Now again, I'm not in the car yet, so we're gonna go to the car in a second here. Hit accept. And to honestly just start programming the car, you could just click on the Trifecta logo here. It's gonna tell you if your interface is hooked up to the car. Right now I am not hooked up to the car, but it's gonna open the file and it's gonna give you a few different things. It's right up here, it's gonna tell you if you wanna custom tune it or stock calibrator, or set it back to stock. So since we're not with the car, we're gonna go ahead and go to the car right now and then basically show you exactly how it downloads. Now, one quick thing I want to tell you guys. I have the old cable, which is the OBD2 reader. It's a red cable I got from when I had the 2.0 turbo. You can buy the newer cable on here. With the newer cable, it does download and read everything a lot quicker, probably within less than 2 or 3 minutes or so. With the old cable, it takes a lot longer. I wanted to be cheap. I did not spend the $120 for the new cable. So if you guys want, spend the extra money, it'll be a lot quicker. Usually what I do is I just hook up a trickle charger to the car for the car battery as I'm doing this tune, so it doesn't. All right, so before actually we go out and tune the car, let's do a couple things here. So I'm gonna walk you through some of the stuff that this program actually has. So in program, you can of course program the car, which is tuning the car. Low speed only. Now this I think is only meant to program it at low speeds. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is to program the car at low speeds. Full force flash, that's if you want to like force the flash into the system. Let's just say for some reason the car dies out while you're doing this and like the battery dies and it stops the programming halfway through it. You could of course, once you restart the car and get everything going, to set it back to stock. And I've done this with the 2.0. I forced the flash through the ECM to flash the system. Now, of course, you gotta be careful with that because you could damage the ECM or cause something. But I did it just because my ECM, the car was left in limp mode at one point because my car battery did die in the whole process for not doing the trickle charge. And that's why I will be doing a trickle charge when I tune this, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But that's what the force flash is for. Adjust calibrations. Now here you could adjust calibrations for the 2.0, which I still have the program here. You could set launch controls and set it that way. And of course, if you want to do that, then you hit accept settings for that. Of course, for the LTG or the LTT, which is our car right now, the twin turbo, you can set ghost cam, and it doesn't give you any adjustments, so you just gotta accept settings. It's all right. So now we go over the vehicle info. Actually, let me finish over here. So we were. And then of course, right here in OBD2 codes and all this, you could actually go in here and if you uncheck all these misfire, fuel system monitor, comprehensive component monitor, catalyst monitor, you can go down the line on this thing, EGR, O2 sensor heater. If you uncheck these, it will not set a check engine light for that specific system. And you could uncheck all these codes. Look at all these codes, the trouble codes that it'll set, and you could actually uncheck any one of these if you wanted to go into that. P017 for fuel trim lean. So if you have a lean code or something like that, you could uncheck those. I wouldn't suggest doing that if your car is factory and you're gonna add this to it, for the simple fact that if there is a lean code and your car is factory right now, you could have an actual issue. This is only basically like I did in the 2.0 when I had a catalyst downpipe and it kept setting the code for a catalytic converter and an O2 sensor. I unchecked the code for bank 1 and bank 1 front and rear O2 sensors and the catalytic converter code. I would not uncheck these codes for any other reason unless your car is modified and somebody is doing this for you. So this is something that you want to be careful with, not unchecking codes, because if you have an issue with the car and you uncheck something, that issue may get worse and you may have other issues in the future. So we'll get out of here, hit cancel, go back in here, of course, and in here, of course, you also have a code scanner, data log for the car. You could actually log data if you want while you got this connected to the car. We're gonna get out of here. Just open that because I hit OK. You could scan for codes. So if it was connected to the car right now, I could scan it. I have my own scanner. You guys check out that video for that scanner that I own. It's a blue drive scanner. Clear any TCM adaptives if you want to clear anything from the TCM. Read controller codes. So you could you could read the ECM. You could read the transmission. You could read the chassis control. You could read a bunch of this. Set key controller. I honestly, if you guys don't know what you're doing, would not mess with any of these. But I mean, anyways, just going through these things, it just shows you everything that this thing has here for you to offer if you know what you're doing. If you're a programmer and you know exactly what you're doing with a car, or even a technician for Cadillac and you own one of these cars, by all means, go ahead and mess around with it. You know what you're doing. Me, I'm a garage technician. I sit at home and do stuff in my garage, and I'm not gonna sit here and mess with all that stuff if I don't know what I'm doing, because I don't plan on taking this to Cadillac and saying, hey, I was in the computer and I clicked this and this and that and I did this to it and now the car is all jacked up. So I just want to show you guys exactly what kind of things you could do with this when you're basically, sorry, just trying to get through the system. When you're basically going through the system, there's a lot of different steps you could go through this and everything else like that. So again, let's go ahead and go out now and tune the car. I just want to show you guys what comes with this Trifecta tune. So you get a lot of different things. You could read the codes if you don't have a scanner. You could shut off certain codes not to come on. I mean, shoot, if you really wanted to, yeah, I'm not even gonna say it because I'd probably get in trouble for it. But if you want to pass emissions and you have a specific code, well, you know what you could do if you wanted to actually do it with this. But I'm not gonna say exactly, but you guys will get the idea. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to the car. All right, so this is pretty much the setup. How I have it set up with the trickle charger. I have my charger sitting right here on this box, which is propped up by a garbage can, a small garbage can. And I have the positive and negative hooked up there. And I don't like to have any additional warning lights coming on, door open or anything like that while I'm doing this. Of course, so what I usually do is make sure that's completely out of the way there. And kind of just close the hood. Just that way everything's closed. Even same thing when I'm gonna do the tune, I'm gonna use one of these garbage cans to put the computer on and have it outside. The cable will be running from inside of the car to the outside while it's doing its tune. I like to leave the car completely alone while it does this thing. So once I set everything up, I will get out of the car and close the door once I start running the tune. So let's go ahead and get this computer propped up here and set up so we could run this tune. So I have it set up where pretty much we're gonna go ahead and start tuning these. Now, of course, this is my OBD2 cable. Again, I have the red one. We're gonna go ahead and plug that in into your OBD2 port right in here. Make sure it's all the way in. All right. Then we're gonna go ahead and take our cable here. like that. And then we're gonna go in here and we're gonna put the car to service mode. Now, one thing I will tell you guys is make sure you leave the car in the keys in the car. Service mode, the way it works is you gotta push this button. Until the green light comes on. Once the green light comes on, we'll shut the door to the car. Hit the Trifecta logo. It's got a warning's gonna come up asking you to make sure that it's connected properly and everything. So we did connect that. Click OK. Now on the actual cable, there is a green light. I'm not sure if you guys see that light. That's green light right there. That green light indicates that it's connected. So then you have your options, the custom tune and back to stock. So we're gonna be doing custom. We're gonna hit accept. Make sure that's the VIN number of your car. I do know that's the VIN number. Hit accept. Enable transparency mode and accept. Now again, with this cable, with the red cable, it does take a little bit longer to tune. So I'm gonna sit here, basically modifying everything, find the calibrations, all this other good stuff. All right, so now it's time to calibrate. It says, of course, you got your options. Connected to vehicle, it's gonna make sure it's connected to the car. And now right where it says program the vehicle, it's programming. Now this is what takes a while. If you have the black cable, if you spend the extra 120, this will take a few minutes, maybe a minute or two. Here, it's probably gonna take me about 30 minutes. So I'll come back when it's about 50% finished. Also, so you guys don't get start freaking out, there is a bunch of lights that are gonna come on your car as this is doing. It's gonna come up service, TCM, and everything else. I'll show you guys when that comes on. But for now, we're gonna let it do its thing, and I'll show you guys here when, actually I'll show you when the lights come on, and I'll show you at 50% as well. All right, we are at 56% or so right now. The lights have not come on the dash yet, so I believe it comes out at about 70 or 80% where all the lights come on and start flashing and everything else. Another one quick thing I want to show you guys is also make sure that your computer is at least 100% full. I don't stress that enough, not 50% or whatever. Anything I would say 75% and higher. I always like to keep it at 100%. Of course, I've been using it for a little bit now, so it's at 88%, but just because you don't want the computer to shut off on you while you're doing this. You don't want anything to shut off on you while you're doing this because again, you're calibrating another computer. So you want to make sure that the connection is proper between the computer, the car's computer, everything else. So just that quick tip right there. So I'll be back when these lights come on and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so I missed the when it finished, but pretty much for some reason the lights did not come on this one. Now when I did my 2.0 turbo, I had a bunch of lights that came on and it's service StabiliTrak, service this, service that. It's because it was programming everything, which kind of is weird to me that none of the lights came on. At the end it did say service suspension and then that shut off and came right back on. The check engine light's on, it's just because the car is still in service mode. It's the only reason the check engine light is on. So it's not that the car's running with a check engine light. But that was just kind of weird that it basically just kind of shut off. Maybe that's the way this programming works, but then after it did that, it just kind of kicked me back on and it went right into here. When I did the old program on the 2.0, then the reason I was going off of my experience of the 2.0, maybe it's different with this one. The computer says, car configured, you hit OK, and then it kicks you back out to this main screen. On this one, it just said, the light came on for a split second, said service suspension, and then it went away, and then it kicked me out to this program, which at this point, it's completed. There's nothing else that it's doing, nothing else that it's reading. So we're gonna go ahead and turn it off the car. We'll unplug the module. Before starting the car fully, what I would suggest is just kind of pushing it once to get everything kind of going, make sure the computer's reading, and then go ahead and start the car. No lights are on. My tire pressure light will come back on once it reads. Again, it resets everything, so that's why I don't have a tire pressure light running right now. Just the seatbelt light it's on. Alright, so I guess that's it. Kind of weird, like I said, I was expecting all the lights to flicker and flash and tell me service suspension, service this, service that, service the other thing, but it didn't. Maybe it's different with this car. Again, when I did the 2.0, it definitely said, it threw a whole bunch of service codes at first and it freaked me out. I left it alone, but it finished and everything went away. It didn't do that in this one. So, alright, so give me a few minutes here. We're gonna shut the car off. I'm gonna put everything back, put everything away, and then I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go on a drive with this thing and see the difference. If there is a big difference. I am gonna put my GoPro right here to look at the gauges, and then I'll be talking to you guys as I'm driving, just to let you guys know if there is a difference that I feel. Alright guys, so driving the car. First let's put a seatbelt on here, safety first. And car is in touring mode, and automatically you feel something. I mean, you feel the difference. I'm gonna say something. You feel the difference. It feels lighter. Of course, no weight was taken off the car by doing an ECM reprogram or a tune, but it just feels when you press the gas, it's a lot smoother. The shifts even in the transmission. I remember when I used to drive, and even after I got the differential replaced, you still felt a slight lag on the shifting, and now you accelerate, and this thing is, and again, this is in tour mode. Now, as you switch through the modes, the car is gonna get more defined. So let's switch this to sports mode. And this thing is pushing you. I mean, oh my God! Wow, this thing is pushing you to the back of the seat. I mean, it just. There's nobody behind me. I got a truck in front of me. Don't try this on an open road. This is usually a less real traffic road. Or take the traction off. Sports mode, traction off. Woo. Just like that, I'm at 60 miles per hour. Wow. And you feel it. You definitely feel the difference in the sports mode, especially. I'm gonna switch this thing over to see what the track mode does. I'm not gonna go to snow mode. I don't know how many of you guys drive in snow mode. I didn't drive all winter my car in snow mode because, to me, unless it has winter tires, the car sucks in snow mode anyways in the winter. So it is in track mode right now. Let me go ahead and do a quick U-turn here. Actually, let's go around this parking spot. I am sweating. It is warm and I have a sweater on for no apparent reason. Alright, here we go. Let that car get ahead of me here. No cars behind me, at least no cars coming behind me right now. There's a Jeep right there. But we're gonna go ahead, traction off, track mode. Wow, 60 miles per hour just like that. Track mode definitely just turns this car into, I gotta call out and say it, but I am a supercar pretty much. Putting out all 500 horsepower, this thing is amazing in track mode. So I mean, I wish I could show you guys. I wish you guys could be here. It would feel how this thing is. Whoever doesn't have the tune, whoever has the tune, you guys know what I'm talking about. How quickly this thing is responding, the shift modes and everything else. Now, I did hear that Trifecta has an update. Now that was after I bought the tune. There was some kind of update. I'm gonna email them on that and see if there's a difference in the update. Something about before, when you used to shut the car off, it would go out, automatically go back to tour mode or something, something like that. Now it's supposed to keep it in track mode. I know when I switched mine to track mode, or sports mode, I mean, I kept it in sports mode. I turned it off, turned it back on, it was back on sports mode. But there were some complaints about something like that. I'm not 100% sure what the complaints were. But then Trifecta did some kind of upgrade and there was some kind of calibration to it. I'm also gonna ask them if there is a difference if I do have an exhaust. Maybe, I don't know, by tuning something, they can make it sound a little bit more deeper or something like that. I know that some tunes can do that, maybe even the little backfire type of noise that they come out of some of those cars. But again, from my experience so far, from tuning my V Sport to how it used to be, this thing feels a lot greater. Your shift points are on point. You barely feel them. You barely feel that That's the shifting of gears, and it's just it's a lot smoother when it's shifting and accelerating. I mean, it just kicks you right to the back of your seat right there when you do this. And of course, it's sucking in more air, and you definitely hear that because you hear those intakes, that intake just sucking in all that air with the ZZP intake, by the way. I don't know how it is without the intake, but anyways. So let me go ahead. I'm gonna go back home, and then I'm gonna end up and finish this video and kind of give you guys a whole, I guess you could say, just finish up the video pretty much. So let me go ahead. We're gonna go back home, and I'll see you guys back at the garage, and we'll finish up the video there. All right, so wow, the tune changes the car 100%. So real quick, the intake doesn't do much of anything in the car other than make it look good when you pop the hood and get some extra airflow, and of course you hear a nice whoosh when the turbos, you know, when they spool up and they let go of that air. That's amazing on its own because I just like the way that sounds. Doing a downpipe will not change anything on the car. This downpipe is pretty wide and pretty unrestricted. On top of that, like I said earlier in the video, GM actually has a restriction on how much power this car could put. So Trifecta doing the tune for the ECM and the TCM, which is all one piece, basically doing a transmission and engine tune, helps out a car, and that's pretty much the best you can get out of power unless you start putting in intercoolers. And when you start doing stuff like that, now you're talking about changing a lot of different stuff on the car, which I'm not about to do on this car. Again, I do have a daily driver, which is my Trailblazer, and this is pretty much my project car, if you want to call it that, but I don't want to go crazy on it. I want to make sure that the car stays as stock as possible, but gaining more power, if that makes sense. So I don't have to, worry about me blowing the engine because I put 2 new turbos on there and the engine couldn't take it, or whatever else situations that could happen. Anyways, as for what I did with the car and why I decided to do the transmission and the coil plugs, that's because I wanted to keep the car at 100% performance, basically make sure that everything was brand new that I can take care of right off the bat. Transmission fluid needed to be changed. It was time for a change. It's at 53,000 miles. We have the new rear differential that came because of the recall, and the coils and the plugs have been done. Plugs were done 5,000 miles ago. The coils were just done within the same video, pretty much all in one day. Now, anybody that's trying to do the tune, no, you don't have to do all that. You could just do the tune and download it and be good with that. But just make sure that your car is at least close to that, because you want to get the best performance out of that car. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got information out of this. And if you did, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to share and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.